God has never been silent, but sometimes we're not positioned to hear him. And yet today, something divine has shifted. This isn't just another inspirational message. This is a moment in eternity where God has released a fresh word in its person. It wasn't recycled from someone else's story or echoed from the past. It came now with precision and intent, because God has seen the posture of your heart. He has heard the prayers you didn't even know how to say out loud. He's watched you press forward when your strength was running on fumes. And in the unseen realm, a shift has happened. What God is saying now is not for the person next to you. It's not a general encouragement. It is a divine announcement marked with your name on it. Heaven doesn't make accidental declarations, and this one is intentional, perfectly timed, and divinely aimed. God speaks when something in the spiritual atmosphere demands a response. And what he just spoke is a confirmation that something in your life, your surrender, your brokenness, your obedience, has finally touched heaven. It's not that he didn't want to speak before, it's that the time had not yet come. God doesn't move by impulse, he moves by divine timing. What you're hearing now, this word that is being released for the first time, is evidence that what once was withheld is now being released. And it's not being released as a whisper of possibility. It's being spoken as a command, a divine instruction wrapped in. It is the kind of word that separates your past from your future. It is the kind of word that makes demons tremble and destiny come alive. It is the kind of word that answers every why and silences every doubt. You've waited and you've wondered. You've questioned if you missed your moment, if perhaps God was only speaking to others. But today proves otherwise. Today proves he sees you. He knows what's behind your strength. He knows the weight you carry. He knows the cost of your quiet faithfulness. And now he's saying something for the first time, because now is the moment it will take root. You weren't ready before. You weren't positioned like you are now. Maybe the old version of you would have let this word pass by. Maybe the old you would have doubted or dismissed it. But now you've been forged in fire. Now your ears are open, not just to hear, but to receive. That's why he's speaking now. That's why he waited for this moment. Because your spirit is no longer just seeking relief. It's seeking alignment. This word is not ordinary. It's not something you can treat casually or forget in the noise of daily distractions. This is a sacred echo from the heart of God, directed straight into your soul. And when God speaks something he's never said before, it means he's releasing something he's never done before. What's coming after this moment is not familiar. It's not going to look like your last season. It's not going to follow the same patterns or require the same thinking. This word is an invitation into divine disruption. It's God saying, you've been waiting for me, but I've also been waiting for you. Waiting for you to grow, waiting for you to break free, waiting for you to believe that you were chosen to hear something that heaven hadn't released until now. So lean in. Don't second guess it. Don't ask for confirmation from people who didn't hear it. The one who formed you, you's the one who just declared over you. And that declaration carries the power to change everything. The weight of this moment isn't to pressure you, it's to prepare you. Because what God has just said for the first time is unlocking what your life has been building toward all along. Don't miss it. Don't minimize it. This is not a repeat. This is a revelation. What God just spoke has the power to shatter every limitation you've ever accepted as truth. For too long, you've lived under ceilings that weren't built by God, but by fear, rejection, disappointment, and unhealed words from your past. You've been navigating life with chains you couldn't see, but you felt them every time you tried to rise. Every time you took a step forward, something seemed to pull you back. And it wasn't because you were weak. It was because the enemy saw your strength before you did. He wrapped lies around your identity, convincing you that who you were was based on what you survived. But now God has spoken, and his word overrides every lie, breaks every chain, and dismantles every curse that tried to make you believe you weren't chosen for more. What he just said doesn't just inspire, it liberates. It declares freedom over what once held you prisoner. There's a reason why this word is coming now and not before. God didn't want to give you a breakthrough when you still thought you had to earn it. He waited until you were ready to receive it by faith, not by performance. What he's releasing now is a word of power, not just promise. It's a word that confronts every internal voice that said you weren't good enough, smart enough, strong enough, and it silences them with divine authority. When God speaks, he speaks from a place of sovereignty. He doesn't ask permission. He doesn't need your past to look perfect to declare your future. What he just said is enough to reverse everything you thought was final. It's enough to restore what you thought was lost. It's enough to elevate you into a realm you never imagined for yourself. And this time, no person, no system, no voice from your past can stop it, because the voice that matters most is already spoken. The limitations you've carried weren't always placed there by enemies. Some of them were inherited. Some were spoken by people you trusted. Some were born out of trauma, survival, or culture. You didn't choose them, but you carried them. Then unknowingly, you let them define what you pursued, what you believed you deserved, and how you measured your worth. But God never intended for you to live boxed in by those invisible walls. That's why this word, this brand new, never before spoken word, is coming to uproot every limitation that was planted in you. It is divine disruption. It is heaven saying no more. No more carrying the weight of labels that were never yours. No more shrinking yourself to be accepted. No more dimming your light to make others comfortable. What God has just said is too big for small thinking, too holy for human approval, and too anointed to be caged. You must understand the weight and power of a word from God. When he speaks, it doesn't just echo in your ears. It penetrates the unseen realm. Angels move at his voice. The earth aligns to make room for what he has declared. Demonic resistance weakens at the sound of his decree. What he said about you wasn't casual, it was strategic. Because when God speaks, it creates. And what he just created is a new level of freedom, clarity, and elevation that your life has never touched before. This isn't about Hyphen's design. You were born for more than what you've settled for. But it takes a word like this, direct, undeniable, divine, to awaken what has been dormant. The same God who spoke light into darkness has now spoken into you. And the light he released is not just for your path, it's for your purpose. It's the light of identity, calling, and destiny. And now that it's been spoken, you can't go back to living like you didn't hear it. You can't go back to normal when God just declared supernatural. You can't go back to survival mode when he just announced abundance. You can't go back to insecurity when he just confirmed your assignment. This is the moment where you choose whether the word he spoke becomes your reality or just another passing encouragement. It will require boldness, it will require obedience. But most of all, it will require you to let go of who you thought you had to be and step fully into who he just revealed you already are. This word is not permission, it's command. It's not suggestion, it's activation. It's not for someday, it's for now. The limitations have been revoked. The chains have been shattered. What held you before has no legal right to hold you now. And though you may still see the same surroundings, you are not the same person. Because once God speaks, something inside you changes forever. You're not waiting on freedom anymore. It has already been declared. You're not asking for confirmation anymore. It has already been released. All that's left is for you to walk in it, boldly, unapologetically. And knowing that when God said it for the first time, he meant for you to live like it would be the last time you ever doubted who you are. And that changes everything. This word that God just spoke is not vague, not hidden in mystery, not wrapped in confusion. It is specific. It carries weight because it was crafted for your journey, your battle, your timeline. It's not like the general messages you've heard before. It is surgical. It is clear. It speaks directly to what you've been wrestling with in silence. And though others may not fully understand why it hits so deeply, you know it's for you. Because this word addresses what no one else saw. It reaches the part of you that didn't even know how to cry out anymore. It touches the pain you buried, the questions you stopped asking, the future you almost gave up on. It's as if heaven opened a private letter written with your tears, and God read it out loud in response to every moment you thought you were forgotten. This isn't just a random encouragement. It's a divine response. For months, or maybe even years, you've been carrying a question inside. When will I see what I've been believing for? You fasted, prayed, pushed through, and continued even when your strength was gone. There were times you praised through tears, showed up while bleeding spiritually, and gave while feeling empty. God saw it all, and now for the first time He has spoken directly into that question, not just with comfort, with strategy. Because when God sends a word, He doesn't just want to encourage you, He wants to equip you. He speaks with instruction, not just inspiration. And the word He just released is filled with the direction you need to break through everything that's tried to block you. This is the kind of word that separates seasons. It changes the atmosphere in your life. It resets what you've expected and activates a new level of faith. That's because the moment God speaks, He is not just giving you information. He is shifting the foundation beneath you. What you build next will not look like what you've built before. What you pursue from this point on will not be based on old mindsets, old patterns, or old fears. That's why this word had to be clear. It had to be unmistakable. Because it's meant to redirect your steps, upgrade your vision, and sharpen your discernment. You may not know the full picture yet, but the clarity you feel right now, that's your confirmation. That's how you know this isn't imagination, it's impartation. Something divine has been deposited into your spirit, and it will not return void. What makes this word different is how precisely it hits your soul. You can feel it in your spirit. It doesn't bounce off like all the other things people tried to say to encourage you. This one entered. It feels alive. It wakes something up in you. That's because it came from the mouth of God, and His words carry creative power. They don't just say what is, they create what's next. And when He speaks, His words become a seed of purpose planted deep within you. This isn't just something to feel good about. It's something to build from. You are no longer waiting for a sign. You've received the word. Now it's time to walk it out, step by step, day by day, knowing that you are operating under divine instruction. God never speaks without intention. His words are never wasted, and when He chooses to say something new, it's because something is about to be birthed in your life that has never existed before. This word didn't come to entertain you, it came to evolve you. It came to grow you into who you were always meant to become. And that means letting go of what no longer fits. It means stepping away from environments that no longer match your assignment. It means moving in alignment with what you heard and not what you feel. Because feelings will lie, but God's word never fails. He doesn't speak to keep you comfortable. He speaks to move you into covenant, into calling, into the now of your purpose. This word requires more than just listening. It requires agreement. You must agree with what heaven just said. You must declare it, pray it or down, and begin to organize your life around it. What you heard wasn't just truth, it was instruction. And instructions come with responsibility. God didn't speak just to comfort your heart. He spoke to unlock your next. And if you treat this word casually, you risk missing the supernatural door that has been opened in this exact moment. This is the kind of word that causes angels to move, distractions to be exposed, and favor to fall in places where you were once rejected. It is that serious, it is that divine. And it is yours. You've waited and you've wondered. You've asked when and you've asked how. Now the word has been released. The answer is here. And even though every question isn't resolved, you know in your spirit that something shifted when He spoke, that knowing. That unshakable confidence rising in your soul. That's what happens when God doesn't just speak to the room. He speaks to you. It's not noise. It's not hype. It's holy. And from this point forward, you are no longer guessing your way through life. You've been marked by a word. And when heaven speaks something new, it means earth is about to make room for what's coming next. This is the moment you stop waiting for the right time, because this is it. Now that God has spoken, the responsibility shifts. The question is no longer whether God has a plan for your life. The question is whether you're ready to move in agreement with it. He has spoken. He has confirmed. He has declared it for the first time, and specifically for you. But heaven does not operate on casual interest. Heaven partners with action, and now it's on you. Not because God is distant or demanding, but because divine words require human response. God is not in the business of speaking to fill the silence When he speaks, he sets things in motion. When he releases a word, he expects obedience. You don't need another sign, another person's approval, or another year to figure it out. You've already been given the word, and what you do next will determine whether you step into breakthrough or stay stuck in what was meant to end with this revelation. What God has just said is not something to admire from a distance. It's something to walk into. But that walk won't be easy. It will challenge your habits. It will stretch your mindset. It will ask you to release what you once depended on. Why? Because the weight of a word like this isn't just in what it declares. It's in what it requires. God doesn't speak empty affirmations. He speaks divine instructions wrapped in promise. This word is an assignment, a mandate, a heavenly alert that now is the time to move, shift, release, rise, and obey, regardless of how things look around you. Your surroundings may not yet reflect what was spoken, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. Faith moves before proof shows up, and obedience walks even when the path isn't paved. What God said will come to pass, but only if you're willing to walk even while you wait for things to catch up. There will always be a temptation to hear a word from God and sit still, waiting for something magical to happen. But that's not how the kingdom works. God does the supernatural when we move in the natural. He parts waters when feet step in. He multiplies when there's something surrendered. He raises the dead when someone calls out in faith. And what you've received is not a word for decoration. It's a word for demonstration. What you believe must be proven in what you build. You can't treat this like another emotional moment. This is not hype, it's holy. And holy things demand honor. God is watching to see if you will respect the weight of what he just released. Not by talking about it, but by walking in it. Because talk doesn't bring transformation. Movement does. This word is meant to be lived. You will never fully understand the depth of it until you start walking it out. Don't wait until you feel ready. You're already chosen. Don't wait until others agree. You're already called. Don't wait until the circumstances look easy. The power of God shows up in the impossible. This is the time to confront your fear with faith, your delay with discipline, your doubt with declaration. Because this word will not fulfill itself. It's a seed, but you are the soil. And if you don't nurture it, protect it, and water it with obedience, it will lie dormant. God didn't just speak to excite you. He spoke to entrust you with something sacred. And what you do with it will determine what unfolds next in your life. Heaven has already started aligning. What you didn't see moving is already in motion. What you thought was blocked is already being cleared. The doors that were once closed are beginning to unlock, not because you forced them, but because you finally heard the word that was designed to open them. But now that he has spoken, you can't return to old patterns. You can't return to small thinking. You can't return to fear-based choices. Because the person who received this word is not the same person who used to hesitate. That version of you no longer fits the future that was just revealed. And if you try to stay the same, you'll forfeit what was meant to change your life. You must decide, will you let this word shape your reality? Or will you settle for the illusion of safety? What you're carrying now is not just a promise, it's a fire. And that fire will consume every excuse, every insecurity, every delay if you let it. But fire can't be managed, it must be followed. When God spoke to Moses through the burning bush, it wasn't just a sign, it was a summons. That fire marked the beginning of a new path. This word is doing the same. It's calling you to step into something bigger than yourself, something bolder than you've imagined, something more sacred than your comfort zone. And if you trust God enough to obey without having all the answers, you will see him fulfill what he just released with your name on. So now it's on you. God has done his part. He's spoken something new, something he's never said before. And he chose to say it to you. That means he believes in your potential, your capacity, and your willingness to move. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need a flawless record. You just need a willing heart and the faith to walk like the word is true, because it is. This is the moment where you rise. This is the moment where everything shifts. Not because everything around you changes instantly, but because you do. God has spoken. Heaven has moved. And now, some of you